The night my sister's fiancé showed up unexpectedly was one of those moments that quietly reshaped everything we thought we understood about trust, courage, and the power of honesty. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 26 years old, and at the time, I was living with my younger sister, Emily, while we both saved money to move into our own places. Emily had recently gotten engaged to a man named Marcus Reed. Marcus worked long hours as a regional project manager for a construction company and traveled often. Because of that, we didn't see much of him in person. Most of their relationship happened through phone calls, video chats, and weekend visits that seemed almost too short to matter before they started again. Still, Emily loved him deeply. Whenever his name came up, her smile would light up our living room. She talked about their future constantly, the house they'd buy one day, the dog they'd rescue, how she'd keep working at the library while he aimed for promotions in his job. Everything sounded hopeful, stable, carefully planned. That late-night visit didn't seem out of the ordinary at first, just unusual timing. It was nearly midnight when I heard the knock on the door. Emily was already asleep. I was in the kitchen cleaning up after a long evening of studying for a certification exam. The knock startled me. We never had guests that late. I walked to the door cautiously. When I opened it, I saw Marcus standing on the porch. He looked unsettled. His normally neat jacket was wrinkled. His expression was tired but focused, as if he'd driven for hours straight without stopping to process what he needed to say. "Hey, Daniel," he said quietly. "Can I come in? I need to talk to both of you." I let him inside without hesitation. Marcus didn't sit down immediately. He paced near the couch, running a hand through his hair like someone rehearsing a difficult confession. "What's going on?" I asked. He swallowed. "I just found out something I should have known months ago, and I can't sleep until I talk to Emily." The seriousness in his voice made my stomach tighten. I went to wake my sister. When Emily came into the living room wrapped in a blanket, confused and sleepy, Marcus immediately stood still, facing her. "I didn't want to do this over the phone," he said. "This couldn't wait." Emily frowned gently. "Marcus, you're scaring me." "What's wrong?" Marcus exhaled, steadying himself. "I've been offered a promotion. A big one." Instead of excitement, the room filled with sudden tension. "That sounds good," Emily replied, uncertain. "It is, but there's more. The position is in Seattle. Permanent relocation. They expect me to move in 6 months." Emily stared at him in silence. Marcus continued, "I only found out yesterday. I should have known this was coming, but when they officially confirmed it, I realized I'd been avoiding telling you because I was worried about what it meant for us." Emily sat down slowly. "Seattle," she whispered. "But, you said you planned to stay here." "I did," he nodded. "But careers don't always stay where our plans are." A long silence followed before Emily finally asked the question on both our minds. "Why did you come here in the middle of the night?" Marcus met her eyes. "Because you deserve honesty above comfort. Because I realized I can't ask you to build a future with me unless I'm completely open, even when the conversation is terrifying." Emily's voice trembled. "Are you asking me to move?" "I'm asking you to decide what you want," Marcus said softly. "Not what I want. Not what's easiest. I'm willing to move alone if that's what makes sense for you, but I couldn't hide this from you for another day." I watched as my sister processed everything in slow motion. Their engagement had been based on the assumption that they'd stay near our hometown close to family. Emily's job was stable, meaningful to her. She loved her routine, her community. I expected tears or anger. Instead, something surprising happened. Emily stood up and hugged Marcus. "I'm glad you told me now," she said quietly. "Not later. Not after we'd planned our whole life around something we hadn't openly discussed." Marcus looked relieved but uncertain. They spent hours talking, truly talking, for the first time about their future dreams instead of just assuming they aligned perfectly. Emily admitted she feared leaving home. Marcus admitted he worried his career might one day become a wedge between them. No accusations were made. No voices were raised. Just honesty at last. Weeks passed after that midnight conversation. They didn't rush decisions. Instead, they researched job opportunities for Emily out west. They talked to family members. They evaluated finances. They explored compromises, like long-distance plans or waiting until the wedding passed to finalize anything. Eventually, Emily made her decision. She chose to relocate, but on her own terms. Marcus moved first for work. Emily stayed behind an additional 8 months to finish contracts with the library system and save extra money. They scheduled visits every few weeks. FaceTime became their anchor. The engagement didn't fall apart, it strengthened. The night Marcus arrived late had forced them into honesty earlier than expected. That honesty became the foundation for everything that followed. 1 year later, I stood beside Emily as she married Marcus under a wide-open sky in a small park overlooking the Seattle waterfront. She looked confident, not because life had become predictable, but because uncertainty no longer scared her. After the ceremony, she hugged me and whispered, "If he hadn't shown up that night, if he hadn't told the truth, we would have drifted into a future built on half plans." Marcus joined us and smiled. Sometimes the hardest conversation opens the strongest door. And from that night forward, I understood something important. Surprises don't always bring chaos. Sometimes they bring clarity.